Well, it's old Jason at 4. We're going to try to do some 5-minute news. Keyword, try. If I can shut my mouth or give you the summary as fast as I can, I might be able to pull it off. Don't hold your breath. Huge sinkhole opens up in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn. 20 foot by 20 foot wide. Each one car threatens several others. And I know this year so far we hadn't really heard too many sinkhole stories, but last year there was quite a few, and the way Bob had mentioned, there's a lot more to come. So just keep this in mind. So this one happened at 6 p.m. tonight, 20 foot by 20 foot, and they said our car was right underneath a high pressure gas line, so there were so many intricate parts where it could have gone wrong and people could have really gotten hurt. And we're okay, and everyone's okay. So we're grateful. Brings up a good point of all these pipes we have all over the place in America. You and I don't even have a clue how many there really are. Whether it's a major gas line, or as in gasoline, or natural gas type of gas line, or a local municipality, or not necessarily municipality, but a local power company or whatever that provides gas underground also. Not a major pipeline. In any of the cases, you start having a bunch of sinkholes and stuff and the ground moving and all that. This is like a recipe for disaster sooner or later. So on to the next news. Obama authorizes covert U.S. support for Syrian rebels, Reuters, or Russia Today, reports. President Obama has signed a secret order allowing the CIA and other American agencies to support rebels seeking to overthrow the Assad regime, a U.S. government source told Reuters. Obama reportedly gave the order, known as an intelligence finding, earlier this year. The presidential finding also provides for U.S. collaboration with a secret command center operated by Turkey and its allies. The full extent of the assistance the finding allows the CIA to give the Syrian rebels is unclear. It is also unknown precisely when Obama signed that order. The Obama administration has been open about providing non-military support to the Syrian opposition, but this order he gave doing other than providing non-military support was kept secret. And they just said, we don't know when he signed it. So he hasn't been open about that, but he's been open about the, well, we'll send them food and water and, radios and stuff. Well, how much would that cost? I mean, there's just a few thousand of these guys. I mean, right? $1 million probably got that covered easily. And then some, right? Well, let's read on here. On Wednesday, the State Department said it had allotted a total of $25 million for non-lethal assistance to the Free Syrian Army. Some of that money may be used to buy communications devices, such as encrypted radios, a U.S. official said. The State Department also said the United States has set aside $64 million in, my favorite, humanitarian aid for the Syrian people. How much do you want to bet that $64 million, barely any of it goes to the actual people? The majority of it is going to the rebels, on top of the $25 million already going to the rebels. You could bet your sweet butt it's buying lots of ammunition, lots of vehicles, military-type vehicles. They don't need powerful tanks and stuff. They can get by with Jeeps and other things. Trucks with, 50 cows on the back, like you see in freaking every other country over there. And lots of guns, rock mortars, shoulder-fired missile launchers or, rocket-propelled grenades, something. Those aren't that expensive over there. You can get them practically on every street corner. So, we're providing the enemy of Syria with munitions, with support, with all kinds of stuff. Is that at face value? I don't care if you're an American. I don't care if you're waving your flag right now. I don't care. Look at the facts and only the facts. Pretend it's Russia, not the USA, that's giving them money. Let's pretend it's Russia. Better yet, let's pretend it's Iran. How about that? That'll make you feel better. Iran is giving the rebels money to help them buy, obviously, guns, ammo, everything. Well, hey, Iran is thus starting a war with Syria because he's not giving that money and help to the government of Syria. He's giving it to some homegrown terrorist group known as the rebels that are uprising in Syria and are trying to take it over. And the president of Syria, or the leader, whatever, Assad, is trying to maintain the power structure there, the government there, and he's fighting these homegrown terrorists that our news agencies are calling, freedom fighters, rebels. Right. So in that view, we'd all say Iran is supporting a group that's trying to take over Syria. That's an act of war. That is an act of war immediately. You don't have to look at anything any further. Now let's put that back in reality. Was it Iran that gave them the money and the non-lethal equipment that damn well is lethal? Plenty of money, plenty of ammunition, plenty of guns. Always. And we're not even asking for it back. We're not saying you owe this to us. So we've got 64 and another 25 million. We're almost at $100 million. And here we are. California's bankrupt. I just read that Stockton, California, the one I did a video about 2 or 3 times, that said it was going bankrupt, and it did. Now they had to cut their budget down to something that makes sense, which was crazy. And in there, they had to reduce gasoline purchases for emergency and police vehicles. Reducing their gas tank up. Got to fill up? No, not today. Sit at the office today. Don't go on any calls. Can't fill up your gas tank today. Wonder how that's going to work out for the city of Stockton, the people there. So we have that problem. California just borrowed $10 billion that they can't pay back, like they never can. We have other municipalities going bankrupt, etc. And meanwhile, we don't have time for that crap. You stupid American cities and municipalities, you got yourself into that debt somehow, and you got to work your way out. Meantime, we're going to send money overseas to deal with terrorist activity that we are instilling over there. We're not stopping terrorist activity. We're expanding. We, this country, are expanding the terrorist activity because we're giving these terrorist groups who are trying to take over Syria, who already took over Libya, thanks to us helping there too, we're giving them $100 million. This is what's in front of our face. How much money that isn't in front of our face that you and I don't get to know about is going over there? It probably will make you sick if we knew that. Incredible. Unbelievable. The U.S. Treasury on Wednesday confirmed it had granted authorization for Washington's representative of the Free Syrian Army to conduct financial transactions on behalf of the rebel group. Reports that the Syrian support group had been allowed to do so first appeared last week. The report of Obama's authorization for covert rebel support comes amidst continued fighting between Syrian governments and their troops and the rebels over control of Aleppo, the country's economic capital. Thousands of people had fled the city while the government and rebels continued to release conflicting reports on the extent of their control over the city. Anyways, we are committing an act of war. And there ain't jack crap you or I can do about it. Except come in here making a YouTube video and vent a little bit about it. How I can see the Roman Empire, the history, rise and fall of the Roman Empire, rise and fall of the American Empire. It's identical. Every problem they had, every solution they tried to do to fix their problems back 2,000 years ago, we are doing and have already done recently. Now it's time for the fall part of America, the empire, whatever empire it may be at whatever point in history. Unfortunately for you and me, it's the fall of the American Empire. Sorry. Better get your silver. Even if they smash the price, you better get some. It's the only thing that's going to help you anyway, anyhow, some way, when this really comes down the line here shortly. Next and final piece of news here. 5-minute news. Jason at 4, 5-minute news. Get out of here. Let's see how long it's been already. Freaking 10 minutes, bozo. Look at me. Yes. Breaking news. Tomorrow, Postal Service, U.S. Postal Service, set to default on payment it owes. The U.S. Postal Service facing a $14.1 billion loss this fiscal year amid plummeting mail volume, will default for the first time Wednesday on a congressionally mandated $5.5 billion payment to the U.S. Treasury. Postal officials said Mondays that without close to that sum in the bank, they can't make the payment, which is part of a 10-year plan to set aside health benefits for retired postal workers. Remember what I just said a second ago? The same reasons Roman Empire. That I just read it to you. 10-year plan to set aside health benefits and retirement for postal workers. I'm going to use two words here. Unfunded liabilities. Let me say it again. Unfunded liabilities. I did a phenomenal video months and months and months ago about the Roman Empire that I read from I can't even remember the guy's name at this point, but fantastic read. He went through the details of their collapse, and it was all due to unfunded liabilities. The whole reason they went to war, the whole reason they watered down coins, because they promised retirement plans. If you put in 20 years of military service, you get a retirement. And that retirement grew and got bigger and is more lucrative. And then it came time, again, later down the road, time to pay now. Oh, we can't pay. Well, you promised all these troops and patriots of the Roman Empire, fighting for their country, of course, retirement. You sold them on retirement. You better come up with it. And they tried and couldn't. So they started watering down the money. Started watering down the gold coins and silver coins. Putting less and less gold and silver in them. Clipping them. Coin clipping. That's where that came from. This is no joke. I didn't make this up. I'm not skewing history. This is exactly what happened. So we got to get more money. How do we get more money? Well, we go to war. We go to war. We take over an area. We take and plunder that area. And we'll even recruit some troops after we destroy some of them, those who are hanging around, so that we can get larger and go and defeat other territories and take and plunder that place to help pay for these unfunded liabilities we have. And they found, no matter how much they did that, they couldn't keep up with what they needed, because they would expand and grow, and that costed money, more money. So they found themselves still not being able to pay these debts they owed. The whole thing, the whole world at that time in that area finally got sick and tired of it and fought back. And when they finally fought back, the Roman Empire was definitely in its collapse phase and did finally go away. You don't suppose history is going to repeat again in the first world country, America, greatest nation on the face of the earth, is the most indebted nation on the face of the earth, just like California is the most indebted state in the country, yet we look at California and we wish all states. California is the 8th most prosperous economy in the world. California, the state in the United States of America, one state, California, the 8th largest economy in the world. And it's also the most indebted state in our country. And our country is the most indebted country in the world. How the hell do you think we got to live this lifestyle? On other people's backs of slave labor and shenanigans that we pulled on the world, such as the petrodollar crap, etc. You want to buy and sell oil for the whole world? You can only do it in petrodollars, US dollars. So you got to use our dollars, therefore you got to deal with America. You got to use our system, our financial system, if you want to buy oil or sell it. That was the deal, and it's slowly going away. More and more countries are no longer selling oil in US dollars, and it's coming. It'll be coming here shortly. And when we default on the debt, and we will default on the debt, we will. It is a mathematical certainty. Those holding our bonds are going to be pissed. And they're not going to want to sell us oil anymore. America, you screwed us. We hate you. Now, our country is going to probably make it look like they screwed us somehow. And they are the bad guys. I guarantee that. There's no way we're going to look at them and say they were the good guys. There's no way our propaganda, government, and news agencies are going to do that. They're going to do something that makes it look like it was their fault, not USA's. But nonetheless, they're still going to tell us, go pound sand, we're not selling you oil. And as Lindsey Williams said, you're going to hear a miraculous story sometime shortly after that. Oh my God, America found the largest pool of oil on the face of the earth, blah, blah, blah. Maybe it's multiple pools of oil. And the price, which was $7 and $8 a gallon, has come down. Maybe it was $6 or $7 a gallon, okay? And it has come down finally to rest at $4.50 a gallon, when it could be less than $1 a gallon because it's our own oil. But after experiencing $6, $7, and $8 a gallon, we'll be out there praising the Lord. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus, for bringing the price down to $4.50. God bless America. And you're going to be saying that in vain because it's a bunch of crap. They could be selling our own oil to us for less than $1 easily. And they're not going to unless we expose them. Unless we expose them. And that's what I'm trying to do here. So the Postal Service is basically in default, but it did say the agency assured customers this week that the default will not affect mail delivery or employee paychecks. Benefits for current retirees are funded. There is no legal penalty either for missing the payment. It originally was due last year, but Congress moved the deadline to this year, and they still can't pay it. Can you see where this is heading? You know, does it sound like there's an economic recovery? Did the Federal Reserve today, Ben Bernanke, who still didn't say anything about QE3, believe that or not, did he say the first half of 2012 was looking a little grim? As a matter of fact, he did, believe it or not. As much as they want to lie through their teeth and pretend these numbers that come out are good and everybody should be happy, he finally had to just say, well, nothing else I can say. I can't get past this one. Yeah, pretty grim, but we still have tools in the toolbox. We're not going to use any yet. So these stories are becoming more common. The data is supporting the collapse of the Roman Empire, aka America, right now. Therefore, you'd be a fool to think or even hope. To even have hope at this point, you'd be a fool. Which is sad to say. But if you did have hope that we'll get through this. We've gotten through bad times before. Yeah, I think this time's going to be a little different. Oh, we'll get through it. There's no doubt about it. But you could also argue that during the World War with Germany, during that chaos, people said, or maybe Vietnam, our soldiers over there died, 50, 60,000, whatever it was, died. I'm sure some of them who happened to be alive, of course, the dead ones, they don't count because they can't talk right now, but the ones that were alive could stand up today and say, well, we'll get through it. I was in Vietnam and that was terrible and we got through it. The problem is when you're going through it, not after you've been through it, when you're going through it and it's worse than terrible, that's the part that sucks. Especially when you didn't do it, had nothing to do with you, you didn't cause it, and you are being affected greatly by it, and it's the same international banking family cabal. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do one more video right after this. When I was talking about little Timmy Geithner the other day, what are the chances of them picking him to be Treasury Secretary? He's one of the club. He's been groomed his whole life. And I'm going to read you the facts. And it's all right off of the Wikipedia page. And wait till you hear his whole upbringing. You are going to realize that these people are all part of the same large family of elite themselves, and they just, whether their kids grow up or whatever, they get put into positions of power. All this crap in school, you could grow up and be this and you can grow up. No, you can't. We have peasant jobs for you. Unless you want to rape and pillage on Wall Street, then you can get paid heavy duty. But if you're not on Wall Street, you ain't getting paid. You're going to have to actually work and deal with the taxes and all the crap that we throw upon you as the government to help fund our deals that we got going on. And when we lose, we need taxpayer money to fund that. So sorry about your luck. So I'm going to read you that next. It's actually pretty short, so take care.